Now, long before the 2020 election, the angle was warning about the explosion of no-excuse mail-in ballots during the pandemic. Now, we all know how 2020 turned out, especially the failed legal challenges that followed the election. Now, this time the GOP is not waiting. The AP noting that Election Day is November 8th, but legal challenges have already begun. Of course, that has all the usual suspects crying foul.
They could let the state start counting those early votes as they come in, but they don't want to do that because they want to sow doubts in the results.
What the voters out there have to understand is what those guys didn't accomplish with bear spray and batons and bayonets back on January 6th, they're now trying to do with voter suppression.
They're upset because it's working. Last week, the RNC won a legal challenge against Michigan's Democratic Secretary of State over rules on how poll challengers can operate. They also won legal challenges in Nevada and Arizona over the appointment of poll workers. In Wisconsin, they won on the issue of ballot curing, which is a process where voters can fix problems with their ballots so they can actually be counted. Wisconsin's High Court also found the use of drop boxes to be illegal. Yay. Joining me now is Texas Senator Ted Cruz, author of the appropriately titled Justice Corrupted: How the Left Weaponized Our Legal System. Senator, great to have you here. Congrats on the book. There's pending litigation also, I know, in Pennsylvania, Senator, where the Secretary of the Commonwealth there just announced it could take days to count all the votes. How are we still allowing this to happen in the United States of America?
You know, really is ridiculous, and it seems the places where it takes days to count the votes, they always end up being these bright blue cities where Democrats are looking to get the votes they need to try to win an election. How come the rest of the country manages to actually finish our counting on election night and get a result? The book that I have that came out this week, Justice Corrupted, goes into the history of voter fraud. It goes into how this has been a persistent challenge to our democracy. And what we're seeing now, particularly in 2020, is that Democrats took advantage of the COVID crisis to change the rules in a way that encouraged more voter fraud. They did things like put in place universal mail-in ballots in some states, even though it is clear that mail-in ballots make voter fraud more likely. They did things like putting in place unmanned drop boxes, which again invite voter fraud. They did so by doing things like facilitating ballot harvesting, which readily invites fraud because it allows paid political operatives to handle other people's ballots, to influence vulnerable voters, and if they don't like the way the voter vote, to throw away their votes. All of that is detailed in Justice Corrupted, as well as the legal battles going forward.
Well, Senator, this may defy reality, but KJP says that high voter turnout and voter suppression aren't really mutually exclusive. Watch.
The president has been very clear that based on the big lie, there have been a host of anti-voter policies forced on states that challenge America's fundamental right to vote. High turnout and voter suppression can take place at the same time.
Senator, they were trying to tag Georgia with this, that this was all voter suppression to have voter integrity laws that are kind of tuned up for modern times. And now we have record turnout already in the early voting there. Yep.
Yeah, look, this is all gaslighting. This Biden White House is the most dishonest White House we've ever seen. Karine Jean-Pierre, she lies on a daily basis. What she just said there, and the book actually gets into Georgia's voter integrity law, Texas's voter integrity law, and the lies that this White House and this Department of Justice have told. We're seeing voter turnout soaring because when people have greater confidence in the integrity of an election, they're more likely to turn out. You know, I've been fighting voter fraud for 2 decades. When I was the Solicitor General of Texas, I led a coalition of states before the U.S. Supreme Court defending photo IDs for voting, and it went to the court. 6-3, the Supreme Court upheld photo IDs for voting. The opinion was written by Justice John Paul Stevens, who, as you know, was one of the leading liberals on the court, who said protecting the integrity of an election enhances everyone's confidence in democracy because it prevents your vote from being stolen. But today's Biden White House, they want a system where more fraud is possible. And what this book is all about is that under Barack Obama, and now even more so under Joe Biden, they have politicized the Department of Justice, the FBI, the IRS, the CIA, the entire federal government, and they're using it as a weapon to target and attack their enemies.
Well,
it's profoundly dangerous, and it is a fundamental threat to our liberties.
Well, and I hope the Senate, if it turns into Republican hands, the Republican-controlled Senate actually is able to do something about all this. But Senator, Elon Musk now takes the reins at Twitter, speaking of Texas, because he's moved his operation to Texas. What do you think is going to happen now that all of this lunacy perhaps is going to end with the censorship of opposing viewpoints?
Look, I think Elon Musk's buying Twitter is one of the most significant developments for free speech in modern times. Big tech is the single greatest threat to free speech and to free and fair elections we have in America, and Twitter was brazen about it, about silencing and censoring conservatives. Elon Musk, I'm glad he bought Twitter. He put a lot of money into it. And what he said is he wants it to be a haven for free speech. He wants to let people speak and debate it, and for it to be the town square of public democracy. I think that is tremendous that he fired the top executives. That is incredibly important. He needed to clean house at the top level. And simply allowing free speech is incredibly important. Next year, when Republicans take a majority, and I'm right now in the middle of a nationwide 17-state bus tour. I spent all day today campaigning with Herschel Walker in Georgia. When we take the majority in both houses, which I believe we will, I'm next in line to chair the Senate Commerce Committee, and you can be assured we're going to have hearings examining big tech censorship and fighting to protect Americans' free speech.
All right, Senator, we can't wait to watch that, and congrats again on the book.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.